Welcome back to another coding session, and we're continuing today our final project for CS50. I have been taking CS50 for about 2.5 years now. I started with the main course from zero, no prior coding experience, and I've slowly built my way up 1 or 2 hours per day, all the way to the point where I'm now, which is working on the final project of their web course, which is like their full stack course, heavy on JavaScript, heavy on React, heavy on Python and Django. So that's what we're working on. And last time we left off building these little cards here. So the final project is going to have this feature here, which is to build this little application within the project. And what this does is it allows user to submit what type of features they want to see in the app. Instead of me just coding random things, pretending like I know what my users want, instead I'm going to let you, the user, choose what it is that you want to see in the app. So we've already got most of this working. Let's take a look at the code. So here you see, gotta log in for a second. Okay, so here we're applying that. 1 second. Okay, so it's loading. Alright, CD into the project. So it's CS50w, final project, that, and then we want to do source, yeah, so of this. So we always want to run our code or start or code in our project inside of a virtual environment. That way, whatever dependencies we install, whatever libraries we installed, they kind of like self-contain in this bucket, where now we can go ahead and whenever we publish our app into AWS or whatnot, you can just publish it as like one bucket and without having to reinstall the dependencies, which to do that manually, you probably forget a bunch of dependencies and your app doesn't work well. So the best thing is just to develop everything inside of a virtual environment. Saying hello to Technical Seek. What's up? What's going on? What are you working on? And then we cd into our main folder, and then we run python manage py run server. And this should work now. You'll see this is where we left off last time. Now it's not working at the moment. I think I had a bit of bad code there at one point towards the end of the last live stream. And I think it has to do with the way I was implementing the button. So which button am I talking about? We have this little bubble here which will display comments. And so when the idea is to turn this into this bubble here into a React component. And then once this is turned into a React component, whenever you click on it, it'll show all the comments. So that's what we're working on right now. And I think we're going to have 2 buttons eventually. Like we'll have, I might even write it here right now. We'll have another comment here. Again, I'm running Figma here just from all my design. And I recommend drawing out your project before you start coding. That way, you're not going to build stuff on the fly. Now, I know there's some people that like to say that you have to ship fast, and so you start coding without even designing. I disagree with that. I think the best way is to, especially when you're starting out, or especially when you're working by yourself, not as part of a bigger team. Like if you're part of a team, I get it. Like maybe you don't need that, but there's someone else is doing it. But when you're working on your own, you should always draw out, plan out just very specifically what it is that you're going to code, and don't deviate from that. Otherwise, you're going to end up like start coding a bunch of stuff that it's just useless and you're not going to finish. So this is how I would do this here. Just for the sake of that. Okay, whatever. So I'm going to add, this is what the final cards might look like. Now, I don't know, maybe I change this a little bit to have a stroke as well. Not a stroke, actually. Maybe a slightly different color. I guess we'll see. It doesn't, maybe we'll make it this color. It's something like that. I don't know. Like, that's very basic, but you get the idea. Like, the idea is to have two different buttons. Right now we're working on the first one, which is whenever we click on it, it'll show a div. Basically, it'll expand here. It'll expand the card, and it'll show the comments at the bottom. So going back to our code, let's see. Okay. Right. So we were at this index HTML feedback. And so yeah, you see this? So this is the comments feed. This is what we are implementing in there right now. So that comments feed will just kind of winging it here for a second. So that would be props dot and whatever we passing it, which is total comments. Total comments. What's the teleport app? So this is the final project for CS50. The goal here is to link two different apps together using OAuth and using, yeah, just like the APIs from those two different apps. Total comments, okay. So this is still not working here. Which makes sense, I guess. I think the problem might be that we're returning a component from within a component. I don't know if that's possible. I actually never done it before, so let's see. Yeah, I think that might have been the issue. So now this is all working okay. You know, we have this stuff here. Now, if I look at my traffic, so really all I'm logging here for now is this. It's just the actual cards. But I want to break down the problem a little bit smaller. So I just want to do right now that when I push this button here, it'll show me in the console the comment for that particular thing. So let's do that, and then we'll implement it over there. So for now, I just want to see that. So you see here, return. We have all this stuff here, and okay. On click. Alright, so I have my okay, so inside here, so not down here, but at the top, in my return for the component, I want to add a property on click, and whenever I click it, it'll I'll delete this for now. This actually doesn't make any sense. And I'll delete this as well because I only need one. So this is all pasted from somewhere else. Let's see if it still works. No, it doesn't. Hold on. And so the on-click, let's see if it still works. Hold on. Let's see if I delete this. Should work. Nope. Total comments. And so my comments feed. Oh, that returns outside the function. Got it. So, okay, that was a mistake, I believe. Let's see again. Yeah, that was it. Okay. So it's working again. So again, we want to, over here in the actual component here. So again, this is a component. Here we want to add a on-click property so that when we click it, it runs a function. So that would be over here. So that would be on-click. On-click equals the function, and I think the name of the function should be load comment, or load comments, because it is loading all of them. So the on-click would be load comments. So that should be the name of this function here, load comments. So it's gonna load this, okay, and so it's gonna fetch from somewhere in the server, etc. So before we do that, I just want to reload here and see if it's working. And if I click on it, I am getting an error, so that's good. That's a good sign. Maybe I'll return an A here instead of a div, and we'll give it an href of ampersand. Reload, and you'll see that at least now it's doing that. You know, like it's showing me that it's something that I can click. Now if I click it, I am getting an error because I haven't coded any of the logic. And so it's doing all of that, okay? Okay, let's continue. One last thing I want to make sure is that my comments feed right, it's not just so the comments feed is not just getting the total amount of comments, it's also getting the actual post ID. So again, I'm running this inside of this loop here that's going post by post. So I want to pass in here also my post ID so that I can use that ID to fetch from the server whenever someone clicks. So that would be, it could be anything. It could just be comment post ID is equal to post, or I think it has to be in these, yeah, post dot, and then we're going to just say post.pk. And so our comments feed now, which is this, right, this will now get this as a prop. So yeah, so instead of being props.postID, I can use whatever I named it. So that would be comment post ID. That's whatever I named it. That would be right here. Props.comment post ID. And it's doing it as a post so that we can use security. Maybe we keep that on. right now I'm just gonna exempt it. But so far, I think up to here our code is correct. And so then it's gonna do all of this here. Hold on. I have to check on this function here. I'm not sure about it because hold on. Yeah, I guess it's okay because we're declaring it in the parent function. So basically we're declaring the definition of this component inside of another function. So whatever, and that's called a parent function. And so whatever variables, constants, whatever I have over there, I can use here, I can reference here. So that's where I'm referencing here. So you'll see I'm calling this function even though I'm not passing it. And the reason I can do that is because all that code is written inside of this bigger, like a parent function, so to speak. Even though this in and of itself is a child to the actual main, just the main window, just like the whole actual app that you're running here, like basically the whole index.html file. So that should be okay. I do want to log this, so yeah. After I receive the data, I want to do console log of that data. So it would be console log data. Now, I actually think I have the wrong function for this. This is a function that has to do more with liking, unliking things. I should be using here the function that has to do with the feedback engine. Okay. I'm just trying to think here how exactly this will work when you click on this. So I think we need to use um, some type of use effect maybe. Just thinking here. New post form. Um, yeah, I think it might just be something um, similar to this. So we might have to return like two components down here. Let's see. I'm not really sure. I think we have to return two components over there. So we return two components. One of them will have to be hidden, so that when we click here, we unhide it. Um, okay, I guess I'm understanding here. Hold on. I would say let's take something like this. A use effect is something that's only like use effect. I think it has to do more with the loading and reloading of the page. So it's not something. I don't know if there's something that we can use for this. Let me see. Let's engage here the what? Here. Do I use effect after clicking on a button to fetch server and present? Yeah, you wouldn't use the use effect. That's what I thought. Say we use an event handler for the button clicked. Okay. So it wouldn't be a use effect, but I also don't think it's gonna be this. This is, um, I mean, maybe it is this. I don't really know. This is what is this returning even? Let's see. Yeah, any help with that? To update use state with the fetch data and set the load comments function. Okay, so let's see if I have a different use state. I think use state is just, again, it's this type of variable that you could use. You put it in other functions, and those other functions keep track of it, and then you can use it. That's use state, literally what it means. You see, like this, use state false, and so it keeps this constant here, reload, keeps track of it. And whenever it changes from false to true or from true to false, because it's keeping the post feed is keeping track of it, and this post feed is really use effect, so it'll reload automatically. Now, I haven't seen this used anywhere else. Like, that's the only context that I see this. You see the post feed. Ah, hold on. What is the post feed return? No, what is a post feed return? It returns. Yeah, this. This is the return, which is really the use effect. So, actually, not even. I think the use effect it's its own pair. It's its own thing. So, okay. So, let's see. Getting tripped out here with this part of the code. I think I have structure not correct. I don't think it's correct the way I'm structuring it, but the idea is to click here. Now here, what is it right now? It's a return. Where it's this comments feed here. So I guess we'll take the easier route, one thing at a time. So our comments feed, for now, we're just going to log that data on here. Let's just do that for now. The return will continue to be the same, but basically we would have to fix this up a little bit more um, to display it properly. But for now, I guess we can just go ahead and work on the database, or sorry, on the back end here. Database, we already finished that last on the last live stream. So we'll start here with a new view, and first we'll CSRF exempt it, and we will define this new view, and we're gonna call it like feed. Let's see. Let's try comment. Let's try get comments. So that'll be the name of the new view. And we're gonna get it with a request and a post ID. So we have request and, just like here, request and post ID or whatever. I'm gonna even copy some of this here. And again, you're allowed to copy paste code as long as it's your own code. We're missing this here, okay. That looks okay now. So yeah, so if basically the only thing we want to do is to get this comment, post ID, whatnot. So let's take a look here for a second at the models. So we have this feedback comment. We want to get it. And I guess we can get rid of this. And comments is going to be it's going to be like this. So that's feedback comment dot objects dot I think it's going to be filter. Hold on. Yeah, I think it's filter. So get is when you know that there's only one object in the database for that model, meaning like a user. To find the user in the database, you use like the syntax user.objects.get, because there's only going to be one user with the ID that you're going to give it. Here we can have multiple comments with sharing the same post ID. So here it wouldn't be PK, it would be feedback. Yeah, so it would be like where feedback is equal to. So this feedback here, actually, we have to pass, as far as I know, I think this feedback, we need to pass it with the object of the feedback. So we actually have to get that. So that would be feedback. And here again, you'll see the syntax here will be feedback dot objects dot get, because there's only one with that unique ID. Right, so we're using the primary key, which is its unique ID of post ID, which we are passing. We're passing it right here as a decorator to the URL. We're passing that post ID there, and so feedback comment. So again, feedback objects that get, where the PK is post ID. That way, I'm getting the feedback object, and to get the comments associated to it, I have to pass feedback. I have to run this feedback comment dot objects dot filter, where the feedback equals this feedback here that I just got. You'll see this this will change colors now when I do that. You see how it became white instead of gray. That means that I'm using something that I declared. Here I haven't used it yet, so it's still like that. Okay, so I want to pass my comment back to I believe this is gonna give me something else. Hold on, I have to run some logic here to normalize all of this. You know what? I'm just gonna copy paste, because I copy from the wrong place. Appendix. Okay. I'm actually gonna redo this bit of code here. It's not that much work. You'll see in a second why this is important. Okay, so I still want to get those comments, and so I still need to get the post that we are commenting about. So that will be post equals post, whatever the model is, feedback. So that's feedback dot objects dot get, where the primary key is equal to that post ID. Once we have the post ID, I want to get the comments. So that will be feedback comment. I'll rename this to, I don't need the current user, so I'll just comment is equal to feedback comment, where the post that we're commenting about, the feedback, equals this object here. Okay, so that's how we can get the comments for a particular post. And then here, I'm not sure what I had over there. Let me see. Here. Okay, so this other syntax here, it's similar to getting the posts, but so instead of getting just the post and saving them in memory, what it's doing, it's gonna annotate them as well. Um, it's gonna annotate them as well, and I don't need to annotate it this time. I do need to sort it by. I want to sort it by date. So I do have some code that I wrote a while back. It's feedback. It's gonna be in my network assignment. And here we have views. And so I do have some code here to do that. Let's see, this is very complicated actually, but I should have it simpler somewhere else. Let me see here. This is for network. Here. Okay. I guess this is what I'm missing. Order by date. And I can just do that, I guess. Feedback comment. Dot objects. Dot filter. Where feedback equals post, and then we want to order it by date. So I think we're good here. We can get rid of all this. And so we have all the ideally, really, we have all the comments here. So that's feedback comment, the object, that filter, where the feedback equals the post that we want, and ordering by date. So I think we do have all the comments here, ordered by date, and then we pass that into a data response. And for post and posts, doesn't really matter. So for comment and comments, I don't need to have an if statement here. So I'll delete this if else. And in Python, you always have to make sure that you're indented correctly. So I'll shift tab here. And then this comment here for comment and comments. Now I gotta just make sure to see what my, what my fields are in here. So my feedback basically just has comment. That's really the only thing I care about right now. Yeah, that's the only thing I really care about. So I just want to do comment dot comment, which would just get me the text string. And I'm going to call this comment. I know it seems a little bit redundant, but that's how it is. All this other stuff we don't need, so we'll take that out. And that's it, I think. Let's see. And so we want to do our data response dot append that normalized comment, and we'll do that for each comment in whatever list we get, and then we return the JSON. Now I don't know why I have to, there's no need to comment returning. I know I'm returning. And so comments is going to be a list of that data response, which is an array. Although in Python it's not called an array, it's probably called something else. that array we are turning into a list, and then that list is passed as a comment and enveloped in a JSON response. I believe this should be okay, and the exception here should not be app index, it should be something else, feedback index. Okay. So I would say this is 95% complete. Maybe even 100%. So try post, we get the post first, then we get the comments for it, then we normalize them and we put them in a JSON response and we return to the front end. So I think in terms of our view, we're okay. In terms of our server, we still have to establish a URL for this, which I believe it's going to be called get comments. So down here we add it. We'll say path. Actually, just copy paste this. And here we're going to call it, I always like to copy paste. I feel like it reduces the mistakes and the typos. Get comments with the integer of, we're going to call it post ID, although it doesn't really matter. I mean, it matters. The only thing that matters really is that the URL and the view have the same name for that variable, which it does. So it'll be get comments, integer of post ID, and then we want to do views dot get comments, and the name is going to be get comments. Okay, our URL is set, and this is also set here, I think. So let's take a look to our views. No, not our views, to our feedback index. So we're fetching to get comments right here, and then afterwards we feed it some type of integer. We are feeding the integer right here. Then that goes into our view here, and we're getting the information that we need just from the URL decorator, so that's okay. We have our post, we have our comments, etc. That should work. And in the end, we're going to log all that in the console. So let's see if our round trip actually works. Let's reload here. And if I click on this, it gives me an error. And actually, I see, first of all, that the error is from the server. So whenever we're debugging, we always want to solve, most of the time, not always, but most of the time, we want to solve for the, I'm saying there are exceptions, but for the majority of the time, you want to first solve the server. The server really is the root of, or like the brains of the operation. The front end is more of a way to present it to the user. So I'm seeing here I already have a problem with the server, so let's go into that first. I see that I don't have a field called date, so I'm going to go back here. And it's actually not date, it's timestamp. So that's my feedback comment, order by timestamp. Okay, should be okay now. Let's reload, and we click here, and it seems it doesn't do anything, which means actually it might mean that we are okay. If we look at the console, you'll see that 3 things happen. So again, let's take a look at this. This might be kind of important. So we'll reload the page. You see we have one thing that happens, which is I'm logging an array of objects. Each object is one of these cards. So that's great. We're loading that. Now if I push this button here, let's push it, you'll see 2 more things happen. So total of 2 things happen with just one button click. What could that be? Well, first we load our comments, and we see here we have this objects comments array, which at the moment should only have, it only has 1 item in there. And you see the comment here. This is a comment which is saved in the database in relationship to this card. And after that, we're like reloading again the array. The reason being because we have this line here, handle post like reload. So I'm going to delete that line. and reload this. Now if I click on it, you'll see only one thing happens, and I think that's the behavior that we want for this. So there it is. I mean, that's the array. Now what to do with it is a question right now, for me at least, and something that we're gonna have to solve for in the near future. Okay, so we are making that round trip for this thing here. Let's see for a second if I can make this okay. Okay, so we are making that round trip okay. What do we do with this data now? This is the part where I'm getting stuck. So I think we should open up here and show it. I don't know if that's a use effect though. Yeah, so we're gonna have to figure this one out tomorrow. I see we're nearing the end of our stream for today, but the point here would be that, okay, now that we have the objects that we want to display for comments, how do we actually go about this? So let me know in the comments if you have any ideas. One way could be to use a use effect inside of that component. Another way would be to just use plain old JavaScript, which I'm a little bit against because after all, this is React, and I guess we should be able to use as much React as possible. Another way could be to use maybe something other than use effects, something I don't know about. So please let me know in the comments what you think. Until the next live stream, you have a good weekend, and see you guys next time.